Grandma was quite happy to live here in the house by herself where she'd always lived, and she was strong enough to cope with it. Well, welcome to Bankfoot House. When they moved over to here in 1930, Grandma was one for new things. So Grandma traded the old piano in and bought the latest thing there was, a pianola, so that it could be played and so that you could put a roll in, and if you couldn't play the piano you could put a roll in and make music. As children, we thought this was marvellous. We spent hours. I'm sure Grandma got headaches from all the times that she had it, but when she had lots of grandchildren here, it was certainly a good entertainer. We'd spend hours playing rolls and singing around the piano. I know the adults like to sing around the piano of an evening, but we kids certainly enjoyed our times of being around the piano. And occasionally we'd coax Grandma out of the kitchen and she'd wipe her floury hands. She'd have been making scones. She was always making scones. She'd wipe her floury hands on her apron and we'd get her to play. She'd use up nearly as many keys as the pianola did. Up and down there, no music. She would just play and say, "That's all I can remember today." Then we'd go back to making our music again. This room was Grandma's room, and somebody asked me, when was it Grandma's room? And as far as I know, this was the girls' room when they moved over, built these extra rooms in 1878, and Grandma was a baby then, so as far as I know, this was her room all her life. And it was certainly her room when she got married, and when she got married to Grandfather, he just came and joined her here. The kitchen table was always just in this area. And so Grandma spent a lot of her time sitting at the kitchen table having a cup of tea or cooking scones or cakes at the kitchen table. She was one who loved a cup of tea. And she'd make a cup of tea and she'd pour a cup straight away and drink it while it was hot. She'd say, "Come on, drink it up while it's hot." And I can remember my dad saying, "Glad she never took to whiskey, she'd have been awful." But the kitchen dresser it's never changed. It's never changed over the years. That was the kitchen dresser in this kitchen. We know it was in the previous kitchen, but it's been in this kitchen since 1930. Grandma always had her paper lace, so we've made paper lace like Grandma did, so it looks authentic. That's the sort of tub that Grandma would put in front of the fire on a winter's night when she had grandchildren here, and put warm water in it. And you'd have a scrub in the tub in front of the stove, and she'd have the towel hanging on the wood stove would be going, and she'd have a towel hanging on the oven door. And when you'd finished your bath, you'd stand up and she'd wrap you in a hot towel before you got your pyjamas on. That's the sort of thing. People pay big money today to go to spas and saunas and things, but Grandma had it all down to a fine art in those days.